Put your finger on the bottom of your nose. Slide it straight down to your top lip. There's a groove there, a shallow valley with a ridge on each side. Everyone has one. It has no function. It doesn't help you eat or speak or breathe. It isn't for anything. It's a seam. Your face was built in separate pieces, and that groove is where two of them met and fused shut. It took about a week before you were 2 months old. And it isn't the only seam on you. Before we find the others, like this video now in advance, and subscribe. If it hasn't earned it by the end, take it back. Now, where did the first seam come from? You probably picture a face growing the way a balloon inflates. The same face, just bigger. That's not what happens. At 4 weeks, you had no face at all. You had an opening where the mouth would go and 5 separate blocks of tissue around it, growing inward from different directions. They were on a schedule and they had to reach each other on time. The 2 blocks in the middle came down from above your future nose. They met each other first and welded into a single strip. That strip became the center of your upper lip, the ridge you just touched, and the 4 front teeth in your upper jaw. Then the side blocks arrived, growing in from the left and from the right and fused onto the edges of that center strip. One seam on the left, one on the right. The 2 walls of the groove, week 6 to week 7. That's the entire window. So what happens if one side arrives late? The weld doesn't finish, and a gap is left in the lip. That's a cleft lip. Around one birth in every 700. And look at where it sits. It doesn't run down the middle of the lip. It runs up from the edge of the groove toward the nostril, off to one side. Exactly along the line where the side block was supposed to arrive. Which means the rest of us started with that gap too. Yours closed. That's the only difference. The line on your lip isn't a feature. It's a repair that finished on time. Press your tongue flat against the roof of your mouth. Run it front to back along the middle. There's a ridge there too. Second seam. The roof of your mouth arrived as 2 shelves. They hung straight down, one on each side of your tongue. Your tongue was in the way, filling the space they needed. So the tongue dropped. Both shelves swung up to horizontal and close toward each other, zipping shut from the front of your mouth to the back. That's the ridge your tongue is resting on right now. 2 seams. Your face is starting to look less like a design. If you've been touching your own face for the last 2 minutes, the button is still there, because the next seam isn't on your face at all. It's in your neck. Go back to week 4. On each side of your neck, you had 4 thick ridges, stacked one above the other, with grooves cut between them. They're called pharyngeal arches. In a fish embryo, those same structures become gills. Now the honest version, because you've probably heard the wrong one. In 1874, Ernst Haeckel published drawings claiming an embryo replays its evolutionary history. He overstated it, and his figures were called falsifications in his own lifetime. You never had gills. You were never a fish. What's true is narrower. The starting parts are the same. Only the instructions for what to build out of them changed. Your first arch became your jaw, and 2 of the 3 bones in your middle ear. Your second arch became the 3rd ear bone, and every muscle you use to make an expression. The rest became your voice box, and the bone your tongue is anchored to. Which is why one nerve moves your whole face, and a different one closes your jaw. 2 former gill supports, wired separately. The grooves between the arches are supposed to seal over. In most people, they do. That small pit some people have in the skin, just in front of the ear. That's where the lamps that built the outer ear didn't quite fuse. And occasionally one stays open lower down, a tiny opening on the side of the neck, a seam that was never finished. But there's one seam left, and it's the worst one. In 2009, a film crew recorded the dissection of a giraffe. Richard Dawkins was there to follow one nerve. It leaves the skull inside the vagus and runs down the neck. It passes the voice box on the way. It doesn't stop. It keeps going down 2 meters of neck into the chest. There it branches, hooks underneath a vessel coming off the heart, front to back, and turns back upward. It climbs the whole neck again, 2 meters, to end at the voice box it passed on the way down. 4 meters of detour to cover a few centimeters. You have the same nerve, and yours does the same thing. On the left, it runs down your neck, hooks under the arch of your aorta, and comes back up to your larynx. On the right, It hooks under the artery to your right arm and climbs back the same way. Nothing designed that. It's left over from the arches. In the fish, nerve and vessel were neighbors, a short straight run. Then the neck stretched, and the heart sank down into the chest, and the nerve was already caught underneath, so it was dragged down too. There was never a step where anything could go back and reroute it. And it still costs. Every thyroid operation is partly a hunt for that nerve. Nick it, and the voice that comes back isn't the one that went in. So, the groove above your lip is a weld. The roof of your mouth is a zip that closes front to back. Your jaw and the bones you hear with came out of the same set of parts. And a nerve in your throat detours around your heart because of an animal you never were. None of it was drawn, it was assembled out of parts that were already doing something else, by pieces that had to reach each other before the window closed. Put your finger back on that groove. You're touching the last place your face closed.